Impeachment inquiry will damage Biden. That is the topic of today's op-ed live. So NPR came out with an article today that impeachment hearing will happen from tomorrow. And the first round of witnesses include 3 career public servants who have testified behind closed doors that President Trump did link military aid and a White House meeting for Ukraine with a promise to investigate one of President's domestic political opponents, which is Joe Biden. So congressional Republicans continue to back the president and denounce the impeachment inquiry as an effort to undo the results of the 2016 election, which this is all about. This whole thing is nothing but a sham. The Democrats didn't want Trump to be in the Oval Office since day one. Washington Post came out with an article after Trump won, probably 19 minutes after he won, that impeachment starts now. And Whoopi Goldberg on The View, she was talking about impeachment the day after as well. So this is nothing but a hoax. It's Russia collusion hoax part 2. It's a sequel on steroids, on growth hormones. And let's see how this plays out. I think the American people will be the ultimate judge on this. And that this whole thing will be a referendum to the Democrats come 2020. American people are smart enough to know whether it's a shenanigan or whether this is a proper impeachment process. Because Trump did not make any mistake. If you read the transcript, he did not. This is not a quid pro quo like what Joe Biden did with the then Ukrainian president, okay? So the Republicans, do they get any of their own witnesses? Information about additional witnesses expected soon. Nunes sent a list of people whom Republicans wanted to be added to open hearings, including Hunter Biden, right? Because Hunter Biden got a whole bunch of money, $83,000 per month. Hunter Biden and the whistleblower whose complaint triggered the inquiry. But the House resolution dictates that the Democrats need to sign off on any additions, and it's unclear whether Republicans will get many, if any, on their list. Probably they wouldn't get any. That's why Lindsey Graham on the Senate side said this whole impeachment thing, if it goes through the Congress, it's going to be dead on arrival on the Senate side. Okay, so right on for Senator Graham. Okay, and this impeachment inquiry, I titled it this way: impeachment inquiry will damage Biden more than Trump ahead of 2020. Breitbart also came out with an article about how Joe Biden has been damaged in his poll numbers. Okay. When the impeachment, the Breitbart article goes like this: when the impeachment frenzy began in September, the former vice president was still leading his Democrat rivals by solid margins, according to national and state polls. Weeks of revelations about influencing peddling in the Obama-era State Department and the conflicts of interest between the former vice president's office and the business interests of his youngest son, Hunter, however, have taken their toll. Okay, you guys already know it, right? Joe Biden threatened the Ukrainian president if he doesn't stop, if the prosecutor doesn't stop investigating the gas company, which Hunter Biden is involved in, and Hunter Biden was about to be interviewed, then he's going to withhold $1 billion. And he gave the Ukrainian president a 6-hour ultimatum. Within 6 hours, he had to make a decision. So what does he do? The Ukrainian president decided not to prosecute. I mean, the Ukrainian president immediately fired the prosecutor, okay? And that's how they got the $1 billion foreign aid by the United States. If you see this whole thing clearly, that is quid pro quo, okay? Not what Trump said over the phone, okay? So since starting this campaign in late April, Biden has dropped from leading his fellow 2020 Democrats by as much as double digits in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada, okay? A poll released from Iowa in late October showed the former vice president in 4th place, trailing not only to Bernie Sanders and Warren, but also South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Since that time, 2 other polls have also shown Biden firmly in 4th place, according to polling data compiled by Real Clear Politics. And also, Biden has not led Warren in the first primary state in any poll taken between mid-September and November, which is New Hampshire, okay? Biden has also faltered nationally in the race for the Democrat nomination. So it seems like American people are noticing that all this bad wrongdoing has been happening on the Biden side and not on the Trump side. Because last Friday, I already told you that Trump, his approval rating number was at 50%. And Rasmussen is the only poll that I believe out there, so that really means something. A Monmouth University poll conducted between October 30th and November 3rd found the former vice president in a statistical tie with Warren, okay? With both Democrats pulling 23% of the vote. So Biden's not doing well. In the Quinnipiac poll, the Quinnipiac poll taken just before the most recent Democrat presidential primary, and many pundits agree that was not Biden's best performance, had seen Warren leading Biden narrowly 30% to 27%. So it's not good. There's nothing good going on for Biden right now. He might think that this impeachment hearing would give him an edge since he claims to be a moderate Democrat. I don't think he's a moderate Democrat anymore. And I believe the only chance that the Democrats have to win in 2020 would be a moderate Democrat. But if you look at the field, they're all far left right now. So Joe Biden, who has publicly bragged about the firing, reportedly threatened to withhold more than $1 billion in U.S. aid, right, if the Ukrainian government did not remove Shokin. And Viktor Shokin, by the way, was the top prosecutor that the Ukrainian government fired, okay? Why did they fire? Why did the Ukrainian, think about it. Why did the Ukrainian government fire the prosecutor Viktor Shokin? Why? Because they were withholding foreign aid, $1 billion. The Ukrainian government needed that money, okay? And this is also another poll that's not good for Biden. A recent poll by the Associated Press found that 69% of Americans believe Hunter Biden's work on behalf of Burisma was inappropriate, okay? And a Harvard-Harris poll taken at the same time showed that 51% of Americans think the younger Biden should return any money he made through his ventures in Ukraine. How much did he make? $83,000 per month, okay? $83,000 per month. Who broke this story? I want to tell all of the viewers out there. Especially, I want the Democrats and the liberals to watch my show, especially because they need to be educated on this. Peter Schweizer, okay? He's a senior contributor at Breitbart News, which reports real news, by the way, not unlike New York Times, Washington Post, and CNN. Detailed in his book, Secret Empires. Please read that book. Secret Empires, How the American Political Class Hides Corruption and Enriches Family and Friends. Okay? In this book, Peter Schweizer, he doesn't just attack Democrats. There's plenty of Republicans there too, okay? So he's not some political hack. So in this book, you can see the content that includes Hunter Biden securing the position, which paid as much as $83,000 per month, despite having no background in energy or Ukraine. Look at the hypocrisy. If you have common sense, you would come to the conclusion that it was not Trump that did the quid pro quo. It was Biden. Who got the money? Who got the money? Okay, Hunter Biden got $83,000 per month. Okay, that's almost like $1 million per year. And not just that, Joe Biden was trying to withhold the money if they don't stop their investigation to Hunter Biden, okay? And so that's why the Ukrainian government fired Viktor Shokin, the lead prosecutor. And then they got the money. That is called quid pro quo. Okay, let's check out some news headlines and Twitter feeds. Okay, Trump tweeted this. So today, the Supreme Court will have the Supreme Court will have the fate of 660,000 dreamers and its hands Tuesday. They're reviewing it, and a ruling on the DACA program is expected next spring in the midst of the 2020 presidential election. And Trump tweeted this. Many of the people in DACA, no longer very young, are far from angels. Some are very tough, hardened criminals. That's true. President Obama said he had no legal right to sign order, but would anyway. If Supreme Court remedies with overturn, a deal will be made with Dems for them to stay. Okay, let's move on to the next page. Economy is booming, seems set to have yet another record day. He's talking about the New York Stock Exchange today, and let's move on to the next page. I will be releasing the transcript of the first and therefore more important phone call with the Ukrainian president before week's end. So Trump decided to release another transcript within this week. Okay, let's move on. Why is such a focus put on second and third hand witnesses, many of whom are never Trumpers or whose lawyers are never Trumpers, when all you have to do is read the phone call transcript with the Ukrainian president and see firsthand? He and others also stated that there was, let's move on to the next page, no pressure put on him to investigate sleepy Joe Biden, even though as president, I have an obligation to look into corruption and Biden's actions on tape about firing the prosecutor and his sons taking millions of dollars with no knowledge or talent. So Trump is mentioning this. As a United States president, it is righteous, and he should be investigating and asking what Joe Biden did. If I'm the United States president, I would do the same thing as what Trump did. And if you don't, you're not a good president. You have to find out what kind of shenanigans, what kind of corruption happened in the previous administration. Like wiretapping Trump, okay? Wiretapping Trump. FISA. Fast and Furious and all those scandals. They gotta get to the bottom of it. Let's move on to the next page. Ukrainian energy company and more millions taken from China. You all know that China, the Chinese government, gave $1.5 billion to a private equity fund set up by Hunter Biden, right? And his friend John Kerry's son, right? The Ukrainian energy company and more millions taken from China, and now reports of other companies and countries also giving him big money are certainly looking very corrupt, to put it mildly to me. Both Bidens should be forced to testify in this no due process scam. He's talking about the impeachment hearing being led by Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff, he is a very corrupt politician, in my view. In my opinion, I think history will not be kind to him. Let's move on to the next page. This isn't about Ukraine. This isn't about impeachment. This is about subverting democracy. So Bill O'Reilly tweeted this, and Trump mentioned it on his tweet. So true, and led by angry and dishonest people who hate themselves and must hate our country. Let's move on. The president has until September 30th to give this aid to Ukraine. He gets it out on September 11th, 3 weeks before the deadline. So we give our ally aid, and Joe Biden is not investigated. Remember that. They get the aid, and we get nothing in return. So Trump gave the money, okay? He was supposed to give it until September 30th, but he gave it 3 weeks in advance, September 11th. But still, Joe Biden is not being investigated. So there is no quid pro quo. If they decided, there is no quid pro quo. They didn't return the favor, so to speak. Since the Democrats and the mainstream media is claiming that Trump asked for a favor. But still, even then, even with the foreign aid being withheld because they're not investigating it, I don't see anything wrong about that, okay? Because the Ukrainian government is so corrupt. Why would you give that money if they were involved with Joe Biden and the Bidens that way, right? They should investigate it, trying to withhold the money, what was going on with the gas company, and how deeply involved Hunter Biden was. Okay, remember that they get the aid and we get nothing in return. The Democrats, let's move on to the next page. The Democrats want that to be an impeachable offense. Good luck with that. So Jesse Waters tweeted that, and I think Trump just put it in his tweet as well. Let's move on to the next page. Sarah Carter tweeted this. Horowitz report will be damning. Criminal referrals likely. If it's strong and comes out soon, the IG report will do some real damage to the Democrats' impeachment charade. Okay, this is good news. I think Michael Horowitz, he's getting to the bottom of it. He is also working together with the United States District Attorney, John Durham. He's trying to find out who fabricated the Russia collusion hoax. So they're working together. That's the reason why the Horowitz report has been delayed, I heard. And it's going to come out before Thanksgiving, I believe. I don't know. It could be delayed, but you know what? We should be patient. We should be patient about it, and let them do their job correctly. Because I don't want it to be rushed. Even though it might be slow, I want them to do it properly, so that we can catch all the bad guys and put them into handcuffs. Okay, let's move on to the next page. The government, Charlie Kirk tweeted this, the government runs out of money in 10 days and the government shutdown could happen as soon as November 21st. Are Democrats focused on keeping the government open? No. They're only focused on impeachment. They don't care about the people. They only care about destroying the president. Let's move on to the next page. Trump War Room tweeted this. This is from his campaign, Trump campaign. Breaking, a new whistleblower has filed an official complaint with the Intelligence Community Inspector General asking him to investigate whether Adam Schiff's whistleblower is breaking the law. Let's move on to the next page. Kirk tweeted this. Facts. According to USCIS, 54,000 illegal aliens with criminal records were approved for DACA. 17,000 had multiple criminal arrests. 8,000 were arrested again after having received benefits. DACA is unconstitutional and dangerous. Supreme Court should strike it down today. Let's move on to the next page. This was top news on Fox News website. The Inspector General complaint alleges Trump Ukraine whistleblower may be soliciting illicit donations. Okay, so there are some DACA students who I believe should be legal, and Trump actually offered that chance, if you remember it correctly. It was the Democrats who didn't accept it, so that's why we came to this point. There are some dreamers I believe should be legalized, but there are also a bunch of them who are criminals, and they shouldn't be. Okay, that's my point. Well, that's our show for today. Our show is not about left or right, it's about right or wrong. To stay up to date with our latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.